Alright guys, this is part 2 of the 84 K20. Where is it? It's not in frame, it's over there. But 84 K20 LS swap. Working on multiple things at once. I got a separate video for the wiring harness that I'm making. But I got the greasy engine here, working on cleaning it up. Right now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these broken manifold bolts out. It's actually super easy. So the first thing you need to do is, if you're working on one of these, and more than likely it has some broken manifold bolts, you're gonna take a wire wheel on a drill and just clean that up until it's shiny. Alright, you can see I got them all shiny. So now all you gotta do is slip a washer on like that, slip your nut on, and weld it. You want to get a nut that is a little bit oversized like that so you can get penetration around there, and then they usually come right out. That's what success looks like right there. Of course they came right out like they always do, but you're going to want to, if you're doing this also, you're going to want to ground as close as possible to where you're welding. When I welded this one, I grounded here. When I did this one, I grounded at this head bolt. And when I did that one, I grounded that head bolt. And you're probably wondering why the heck I'm running my welder off of a generator. Well, it's because I don't exactly have power out here. You know, I got all my lights here run off of a big fat extension cord. Alright, I got the front and the rear covers off. Just drained the oil, getting ready to pull the pan. Cleaned up all the aluminum stuff on top here. Looks pretty good inside. You know, just your typical carbon buildup. Well, not carbon, whatever you want to call it. Oil caking, you know, from people not changing the oil. Got the oil pan off. Doesn't look too bad. Just some sludge in the bottom. Pretty typical. Clean it out a little bit. Gotta clean this nasty oil pan off. I just want to say, I would definitely recommend the Molly rear main seal kit here. That's the smoothest install I've ever had on one of these, and I think this is the 4th time I've done one of these, because I did the 72. I replaced it twice because I rebuilt the engine after about a year after I did the swap. Anyway, this Molly one, it went right in there, real smooth. I didn't even have to use any tools. You know, it wasn't loose or anything, it just pressed in real nice and firm. Worked out great. Alright, got it all back together. Flywheel's on, torqued down, ready to go. Even got the pilot bushing in there. I think it's like a LS7 pilot bushing from like a GTO or something like that. Part number is... where is it? I'll show you guys because it might be helpful to you. There it is. Okay. It's a AC Delco CT 1082. Well, there's the GM number. And the flywheel is from a 2001 Silverado with 5-speed, I guess. It was like 65 bucks or something like that. Pretty cheap. And you have to take these 2 pins out here. One there and one there, because it'll interfere with the clutch. I need to get some bolts for the clutch, a pressure plate. So I don't have any. It's a metric size. I gotta get some of them. But yeah, that's about it. I'm using the stock bell housing from the 84. Should bolt right up. Of course, if you mess with these engines, you know that there's no bolt hole right here, so you skip that one. The flywheel torque specs are first pass 15 foot-pounds, second pass 37 foot-pounds, and the third pass 74 foot-pounds. So I am going to get that truck pulled in here. You guys will be able to hear it run for the last time, and then I'm going to start pulling it apart and get ready to swap this in. I'm going to be saving that 400. Gonna stash it away in the corner and for now, and someday I really want to build an old school just hot rod or rat rod, you know, like Model A or something, just something cool like that. Not like I can really find a Model A in my price range anyway, but just some, maybe it'll just be some all-out rat rod, something cool like Whalen Wire builds. And I want it to be old school, you know. LS engines are awesome, but they don't really fit the look of a open wheel rat rod or something. So I think I'm going to save that 400 for a project like that later on down the road. Of course, I'll have to rebuild it. It's worn out, but that's going to be down the road a ways. But I'll be hanging on to that engine. Anyway, I'm going to get this thing pulled in here. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, man, sounds pretty good. Why are you LS swapping it? Well, it sounds good when it's cold. When it warms up, it has a pretty bad rod knock that was progressively getting worse. Especially when you're pulling a grade. So, you know, rod bearings are worn out. And I have some theories on why they're worn out. I mean, of course, it could just be high mileage. It is a 1972 400. Who knows how many miles it has on it. But another thing I thought about is the 400 is externally balanced. It's not an internally balanced engine. And in 1972, the 400 never came with a manual transmission. So obviously someone had to put a flywheel on it. And when you put any old random flywheel on a 400, same with the balancer in the front, if you put a random balancer on it, it is gonna throw the engine out of whack, and it'll wear out those rod bearings in a hurry. I'm thinking that might be what happened here. And who knows, you know, whoever stuck that engine in there, they might not have even known that it was a 400. They might have thought it was your just typical run-of-the-mill 350 and stuck a 350 you know, flywheel on it. This truck did come with a 350, so it's very likely that somebody just put all that 350 stuff on the 400. There was a good layer of dirt and grease over the, the numbers on the block, and it looks like it's been a very long time since anybody looked at them, so who knows. That's just my theory, but doesn't matter. We got this gem right here that's going to be going in, and the old 400 is going to sit in the corner for a while and find its home in something else. First thing I'm going to do when I get the engine out is relocate the battery. You can leave it here in the stock place on these trucks, but it makes it way more of a pain. Reason being is, number one, on the LS engine, your air filter system, whatever, cold air intake, whatever you want to use, it always runs this way. Usually kits are set up to run this way, and also it fits better going that way, so you want to have room for that. Reason number two, the biggest reason, is on the stock LS trucks. If you're going to use all the stock wiring harness, the battery is on this side in the early 2000s Chevy trucks. So if you're using your battery cable and all that stuff, it comes up on this side of the engine with the little fusible link for the alternator and all that fun stuff. So it's so much easier putting it here instead of running a battery cable all the way over here and then all the way under the engine for the starter. I lucked out with the Buick because the Buick was already on that side. I relocated the battery on the 72 to that side as well. Alright, I'm making good progress on getting this engine out. Got almost everything disconnected. Radiator out. Made a giant mess, of course, as usual. But yep. Just trying to leave as much attached to the engine as possible. Just trying to take it out all in one piece. That way, a lot less likely to lose stuff when I do eventually use this engine on something. If that ever happens. Likely it'll just sit in the corner of my garage forever, but all I got left, I think, is my engine mount bolts and then the bell housing bolts, and I think it's ready to come out. So gotta do a quick repair on my engine hoist here. These bolts right here are so rusty. The nuts are like barely existent. They're like, I don't know, rotted off almost. But it's weird because this is solid. Everything else on it is solid. Must have sat in the mud or something and those things were in the mud. I don't know. But I'm going to replace those bolts because it's all loose right there and not safe. So do that before I use it again.